Hello friends, welcome to Tech Institute, and in today's episode of SUSE OpenSUSE High Availability Cluster, that is PaceMaker, we will have a brief introduction about the SUSE Linux Enterprise High Availability Solution. So in this solution we will see what is cluster, what are the benefits of cluster, what all types of clusters are there, and what their characteristics and where you will use them. So let's begin with the tutorial. So in this video we will be covering the topics like first product overview. We will see about what is SUSE Linux HA solution, then we will see the benefits, and then we will see the type of clusters available in your SUSE HA. Then we will see a special case, that is geo clustering, and then we will see the primary components of HA, and we will see the HA product summary. So if you need to tell it in a short what is HA, how you can describe, and at the end we will see the licensing options available in SUSE for high availability cluster. So for product overview, we can say like the SUSE Linux Enterprise High Availability is available as an extension to your SUSE Enterprise Linux. So either it can be 12 or it can be 15. So for both of them, it is available as an extension, and it includes the open source clustering technology that is well tested and well used and well known packages like PaceMaker and CoroSync. So these two are the main heart of your SUSE high availability cluster. So PaceMaker is for resource management and CoroSync is for internal communication. Then you can deploy this HA solution on top of both type of servers, like whether physical or virtual. You don't have any limitation like only on physical or only on virtual. You need to deploy a SUSE cluster, or you need to purchase a separate license for them. There is nothing like that. So what all benefits you get if you are implementing a HA solution? So first thing you get, like, it eliminates your single point of failure. So like suppose you have your production application running on a single node. So if that node goes down, your application is unavailable. So that is a single point of failure. So if you have cluster, then you can run that same application on multiple nodes. So if one node goes down, still your application will be accessible and available. So cluster helps you to eliminate this single point of failure. And as I told you, you can have multiple nodes which can support your applications. If one goes down, another will be still available. So by this, it ensures the high availability of your services and applications, and it enables the management of critical resources. So you can manage critical resources like data, application, services. So whether suppose you have SAP application, so that SAP application you can manage with this cluster suite. This cluster will take it, start it, and it will migrate, and all the things it will do. You no need to do manually. So now we will see the type of clusters available. This SUSE HA cluster supports local cluster. So local cluster is nothing but where all your cluster nodes reside in the same location or same data center. Then you have metro cluster, where your cluster is spread out to multiple buildings. So one node will be in building A, another node will be in building 2, then building 3, like that. It can be spread out to multiple locations. And then you have the geo cluster, where you have your multiple sites that is geographically isolated from each other. So here one thing I need to tell you, that local cluster, if you do so, like you are doing a cluster for your application, but all the nodes are in same data center. So if that data center goes down, your entire application will be unavailable in spite of having cluster. So to eliminate that, you can go for metro cluster. So if one building goes down, suppose because of power issue, still your cluster will be accessible from another building. So your application will be up and running. And now think about your both the buildings are in same location. So you have some riot or some power issue in that city or that location. So in that case, if you are having metro cluster also, your application will be impacted. So to get rid of that, you can go ahead with a geo cluster, so that if one location is impacted, still you can run your application from another location. So let's move ahead with more information about geo cluster. So in geo cluster, what happens? It consists of multiple geographically isolated sites. So like one site can be in Kolkata, another site can be in London. So like this, you have a stretched cluster for in your geo clustering. And one more thing, what happens in your each site, you will not have like single node. There also you can have your local cluster. So like in Kolkata location, you can have two nodes which consist of a local cluster between those two nodes. And then similarly in London location, you can have two nodes which will be again consist of a local cluster there. And these two sites will be connected with each other and form the geo cluster. And subscription for geo cluster, you don't need to purchase anything extra. If you have HA extension purchased already, that includes your geo clustering also. You don't need to purchase anything extra. And geo clusters provide you the capability of failover across sites. So if you have some issue in Kolkata site, you can always failover to London site. That is possible because of geo clustering. So to continue with the geo clusters, few more things I want to tell you. So first thing, what happens in geo cluster based geo cluster can be considered as a overlay cluster. Why overlay I am telling? Because your each site again has a localized cluster, and then these sites combinedly form the geo cluster. So that's why it's like a cluster on top of cluster. So that's why it is a overlay cluster. And as I'm telling you in my previous slide also, like in geo cluster, each site has its own local cluster. So that's what is the second point, where it says like your each cluster site correspond to a cluster node in a traditional cluster. Here traditional means your local cluster. And the overlay cluster is managed by both cluster ticket manager. So here you need to understand, in a normal cluster like in a local or metro cluster, what happens? All the nodes communicate over heartbeat. So if that heartbeat monitors the cluster state and health, but in geo you cannot use that heartbeat because you will be having one site in Kolkata, one site in London. So if you want to have a heartbeat between them, you may face latency in your network, which can create a confusion for your cluster, and it can think like, okay, one site is down, and it can try to get back the resource. So that is not intended. So in that case, instead of heartbeat in geo cluster, both cluster ticket manager is used to manage the entire cluster. So here what happens, each part is involved in your geo cluster, like one in Kolkata, one in London. They run a service called booth D. So this daemon connects to the booth daemon running on other side, and then interchanges connectivity details among them so that they can understand, okay, all the sites are running and functioning as per the design. And this booth, how they work on this thing, so they relies on ticketing system. So this ticket ensures high availability of your resources across sites. So what ticket does, so this ticket grants permission to run certain resource on a specific cluster site. Like suppose you want to run one website in your Kolkata location site and another website in London site. So this ticket can do that. It can give the permission to Kolkata site to run that website 1 and London to run the website 2. And here one more thing you need to remember, at the same time booth doesn't grant the same ticket to more than one site. So it will be always one ticket will be granted to one site at a time. Now here you have one more site called arbitrator. So what this arbitrator does, so now think about, you have a issue in one of your sites. So suppose your London site is down. So how you can get the resource from London site to Kolkata site, like how you do the movement of the resource. So that decision being taken by this arbitrator site, which decides where your resource will go during a network breakdown or communication breakdown or whatever. And so this arbitrator is a special machine that also runs the booth service, but that is a special type of booth and it runs outside your cluster. So arbitrator doesn't form the cluster, it is outside a cluster to manage your geo cluster. So one thing I want to tell you, if your arbitrator is not there, still your geo cluster can work. But in that case, if your one node is down, one site is down, So that failover will not happen automatically. That administrator has to manually move the resource from one side to another side. Like suppose London is down, so he has to manually move all the resource from London side to Kolkata side. That will not be happening automatically if you don't have arbitrator. So this is a diagram. As I was telling you, your site C, that is arbitrator, that is outside your cluster. So your cluster is formed of site A Kolkata, site B London. So again you can see each site has two nodes which is forming one local cluster, and then they are interconnected, and all the sites communicate with each other using UDP protocol. Why UDP? Because you can understand that one site is in London, one site is Kolkata, and if you try to use the TCP communication method, so it will wait for the TCP packet handshaking and all those things. So you may have a latency, you may have a packet drop in your network because of the long distance. So in that case your TCP communication will be broken. So that's why to avoid that situation it uses UDP, and as you can see booth D is running on all the sites, whether your site A Kolkata, site B London, or site C that arbitrator site. Everywhere this booth D is running to have the communication among the sites. Now moving ahead, we will see the primary components of SUSE HA cluster suite. So as you can see the type of clusters. Now we will see what are the components. So one component is the base component. In base component you have pacemaker, corosync, CRM cell and hawk. Already you know what is corosync, that is the communication mechanism. Pacemaker is the resource manager. CRM cell is nothing but it provides you a cell to manage your cluster resource and configurations using CLI. Whether hawk is also same thing, but hawk gives you the manageability over web console. So if you want to learn more about hawk, you can click on the top right corner and see our previous video on hawk demonstration. Then you have the second component, that's called storage component. So in storage component you have NFS or CLVM or OCFS2, cluster manage MD RAID or DRBD, Samba, SAFE, all these things. So we will learn these things in more details in our upcoming videos where we will be discussing about the storage component. So just to give you a brief idea, clustered NFS means like you have a NFS export that will be available to all the cluster nodes, but whoever will be active, it will mount that. Similarly, LVM also same thing, clustered LVM. Only thing is this LVM is cluster award and managed by cluster. OCFS2 is for shared file system. So same disk or same LAN will be mounted in all the nodes, and it will be formatted with OCFS2 so that all the nodes can simultaneously write or read from that file system. DRBD is a special case where you don't have a shared storage and you want to replicate the data from one node to another node. There you can have the DRBD. So in our upcoming videos we have covered this DRBD also. You can watch them how to configure DRBD and how to add them into cluster. Now you have another component called load balancing. For load balancing, either you can have a virtual IP or HA proxy or contract or RIAD. So HA proxy is like a active cluster concept. Linux virtual IP is like whoever will be active node, he will have the virtual IP and your applications will be accessible via that virtual IP, so that end users or that clients, whoever accessing that service, no need to make any changes. They will just using this virtual IP or virtual host name. Contract is nothing but it is like a user state tool for stateful packet inspection in your IP tables. And RAID is like a disaster recovery solution where you can take the name as relax and recover. So for relax and recover, that's RAID. Now moving ahead with the summary. So now you have learned what is each cluster, what are all the benefits, what all type of clusters, what are all the components. So if someone asks you to summarize why I need to use a cluster, what is the benefit or what is the advantage of cluster, what you can say, it helps you to first eliminate the single point of failure, and because of that you have high availability of your application, so that in turn maintain your business continuity. Now your business application is not running on a single node, it is running on multiple nodes. So if one node goes down, still your application is up and running, so your business continues. Second thing, it protects your data integrity. How it protects your data integrity? Now suppose you have one node has some issue, so what cluster does is goes and shut down that node or reboots that node. So by doing that, it ensures that node is out of your cluster and don't have access to your data, because data is more precious, right? So that they cannot put up the data. So like this cluster maintain your data integrity, and it reduce your unplanned downtime. How unplanned downtime? As I was telling you, you have one application running on multiple nodes. So now one node is like overloaded and got rebooted. So still what happens, your application will be moved to the next node. So your application still up and running and accessible. Only thing is with the cost of loss of redundancy. So that loss of redundancy is there, but still your application is accessible, it is continuing. So that's how you are reducing unplanned downtime for your application, not for the infrastructure which got reboot. There it is have a downtime for your server, but your application is still accessible from another node. And it also helps you to achieve high availability for your data, application or services, because that's what you saw. Your data, that like some file share, or suppose your application like web server or your service like NFS service or some service, you saw, right, how it moves to the second node. So that's how it ensures you have a high availability of your application or data or services. So now the last component, that's called licensing. So you learned what all are the benefits and all, but how you can use the SUSE Linux high availability package or softwares. So for that you need to have two components of subscription. One is like the base SUSE Linux Enterprise subscription, either can 15 or 12. If you are deploying new application, I will suggest to go with 15, because that you will be having more number of days support. So that's 15, else you go for 12, whatever service pack 3, 4, whatever. Then on top of this you should have the high availability extension purchased. If you don't have high availability extension, you will not be able to install any cluster related packages on your server. So ensure to have this. And one more thing you need to remember, if you have this high availability extension, that covers your geo clustering also. You no need to purchase any other extra license for geo clustering. So here one thing I need to tell you, if you are using SUSE Linux for 15 or 12 for SAP, then you no need to purchase again a high availability extension, because that SAP variant provides HA packages also and support for that. So you no need to purchase extra. So if you are purchasing SAP for SAP solution, don't go for again high availability extension until unless you are planning to put some cluster which is not going to host SAP related applications. So keep that in mind. And if you are going to use OpenSUSE, you no need to purchase anything, no need to do anything. All these high availability related packages like PageMaker, CoroSync, SBD, everything is available in their official repository. You can directly download and install them. Only thing is, if you are using OpenSUSE, you don't have any support from SUSE, because this is a community supported OS version. There is an option you can transfer it to change it to SLE, then you will be able to get the support from SUSE. That is a different thing and out of this topic. So thank you for watching this video. Hope it helped you to make your understanding on the high availability solutions available on SUSE, that is PageMaker, and that benefit is, so if someone asks you, you can explain them what is that high availability and what all the benefit it bring on the table. So if you like it, please press the like button and share this video with your friends, colleagues and family members. If you don't like, that also fine, you press the unlike button, that will give us a clear feedback. Also you can always use the comment section to put your views, that will be helpful for us to incorporate in our next videos and improve them. And if you have not subscribed to my channel Trich Tech Institute yet, please subscribe to it and press the bell icon to select all the notifications, so that you get notification about upcoming new videos and you can watch them and learn from them and don't miss them. So bye, have a good day. We will see you in our next video.